We are Movie Menu Reviews. Mike wrecks the podcast. I'm gonna wreck it. On today's menu, we'll be reviewing Creed 2 and Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph breaks the internet. I almost said Ralph Wrecks the Internet, which is not the title.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I've been calling it that for the past like 4 days, 2 days. When was it? Yeah, I lose track of time.
Well, welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz, host of Movie Menu Reviews, your weekly movie news and reviews podcast, live on Facebook. Or if you're listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you so much. Joining us today is the incredible filmmaker who is apparently on running away from the cops because his helicopters are out.
Yes.
It's crazy
Looking
times.
for him is filmmaker Manuel Montanez.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
Writer, director
Thank
of the fantastic film Awkward Silence.
Yes.
I highly recommend if you check out a film festival and you see Awkward Silence there, you need to go watch it.
Oh, thank you.
You're quite welcome. Someone here who does not need to be watched at all is my co-host, Panelist.
Does not need to be watched or washed.
But
Both.
Thank you.
Someone who's just always has awkward silence is my co-host, Mike Stan.
Wow, that is
Yes.
so true. That is
Awesome
sadly.
plug-in right there. Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. We look forward to reviewing these two films.
Yes.
Now that we're, in Oscar season and all these films are coming out, it's nice to know at least Wreck-It Ralph will definitely be nominated for Best Animated Feature. Creed 2, we'll
Spoilers.
see where it gets.
Yeah.
All right, so the first movie we're going to review is Creed 2, directed by Stephen Caple Jr., story by Chio Hodari Coker and Sasha Penn, screenplay by Joel Taylor and Sylvester Stallone. Here's the plot. Under the tutelage of Rocky Balboa, that's actually in there, I didn't make up the word tutelage, the light heavyweight contender Adonis Creed faces off against Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago. It stars Michael B. Jordan, Sylvester Stallone, Tessa Thompson, Dolph Lundgren, and Florian Montaneau.
And a train.
And a train and a helicopter.
And a helicopter, yeah, as well.
All right, guys. So depending on your spoiler-free review, Manny will decide if this movie's worth, right? No,
No.
Mike.
Oh.
I knew it was
Plot twist.
Just kidding. I was testing you guys. Mike will decide this movie's
No,
worth.
not me, man.
I'm just going to go back and forth like earlier.
Back and forth.
It's like Instagram all over again.
Oh,
If you follow us on Instagram,
Yes.
check out our story, and you'll know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Best story ever.
Yes. Inception.
and helicopters.
And
more
helicopters.
helicopters.
Wow, it's a busy night tonight.
Yeah.
Well, when somebody's trying to steal a train, you gotta have everybody.
Well, no,
show
when
up.
someone wants to wreck the internet, people will get serious about it.
Yeah.
Mike.
I'm sorry. That's what I do.
So Mike will decide this movie's worth the dining and watching in the theaters, take out waiting and watch it at home, or leftovers. Get punched in the face so hard that you avoid watching this film.
Can we just punch him in the face and just all of us?
At the same time?
Yes. With our powers combined.
Well,
Wow.
since he didn't see the film,
Captain
technically
Concussion.
he should be punched in the face, but we'll allow it this one time.
Okay, fine.
I like the game you guys played last time where it was like if one of you wins, like the other punches me. If the other wins, the other. It was just violence towards me. That's all it was.
Yeah,
Yes.
basically.
Gonna wreck it. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wreck you.
That I don't know. Well, moving on.
I will destroy.
You better check
Does
yourself.
I'm going to.
Does Victor Drago say that? I will destroy.
He does not.
No.
Now that I think
He
about it,
should've.
he should have.
Yeah.
On that note, I'm going to toss those movies over to Mike. Mike, take it
Thank you.
away.
All right. So dine in, watch in theaters, takeout, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers, toss this film in the trash. I'm gonna give it to our guest first. So, what's your rating, Manny?
I'm going to give it a dine in.
Dine in. All right. I'm gonna go with.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, I'll go with Z.
Okay. I'm also going to give it a dine in. I'm going to give it a soft dine in.
Interesting.
Only because it's not a perfect film, but it's damn close to like being like it's not a Ryan Coogler movie, but it still feels like it's a Creed Rocky movie, and I think that's the more important bit.
Got it. Dan?
I'm also going to go with dine in and watch it in theaters. This film, it wasn't directed by Ryan Coogler. You know, everything Ryan Coogler has done has touched has been turned to gold.
Yep.
But you could, for me, I felt even though he was a producer, though he was probably very busy with Black Panther,
Yep.
I still saw some like Ryan Coogler-esque touched onto it.
Yeah.
Cooglerisms?
That's good.
Cooglerisms,
Okay. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And definitely, what I really enjoyed about this film also is very character driven as well.
Okay. So heavy characters, which Ryan Coogler actually got the credit for the characters.
Well,
in
yeah.
this.
And I mean, to be fair, right? He did write the characters of Creed, Apollo Creed,
Adonis
Creed. Sorry,
Creed.
Adonis Creed. The woman, this Tessa Thompson's Bianca's character, and even at that, like Rocky Balboa's character, while it is different than the originals, I would even say that this is Coogler's, Rocky Balboa's character, because there's a lot of regret, there's a lot of guilt in the way that Sylvester Stallone presents it. So these are all Coogler's characters, and yeah, they're based off of the Sylvester Stallone characters, but they're distinctly different. And I would kind of sometimes I would agree with you on that, Dan, that there are some Cooglerism shots. But I wish there was more because I grew so used to watching Creed 1 where like the camera followed him into the stage.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, and there's none of that in this movie.
Oh, okay.
And again, Stephen Capel Jr. had a lot to work. Like seriously, like he could have easily messed this movie up, direction wise. However, I think because of just the fact that he was so, in that hot chair, he did a really good job.
Which, it's funny because for me it was very subtle because the hype for this film this was my most anticipated film of this season was Creed 2, and I was really excited for it. But going into it, you don't hear much of anything, no buzz really surrounding it compared to the first one. No, I didn't hear much good reviews or bad reviews or whatever going around. So going in, I was able to just enjoy the film for what it was, and I was pleasantly surprised that I felt like was just as good as the first one, and B, didn't suck. Because most sequels suck.
I think that's a key point. And honestly, after walking out of this movie, I don't know, maybe you guys can agree with me on this, but I kind of wish that this movie series ends here. It just felt like a closed ending, and I don't want to see another movie. I just felt this was good. I don't want him to mess it up with the third movie.
Got it.
I don't know if you guys felt the same way with that.
I'll totally agree with you. It just feels like if this is the way how you're going to end the whole, the Creed saga.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm
Right.
like, I have no regrets. I have no doubts. My fear is that, studios get greedy.
They do.
Next thing you know, it's like, hey, let's just throw another one in there.
throw
and see
another
what-
one in.
What would you guys think about a Drago movie?
And okay, so let's talk about the plot here for a quick second. This movie it's a movie with boxing.
Yes.
But it's not a boxing movie.
Okay.
It's a movie about legacy.
True.
To just
Where the first movie you see a lot of boxing involved. This
Yes.
one is not as boxer heavy.
Yeah. So it's heavy in the
it's
story.
not boxed in.
Gotcha. Nice.
But it is a movie about legacy, and just watching this movie, I just kept thinking about okay, this is a movie about boxing, but it's not a movie about boxing. It's a movie about relationships between parents and their kids.
Okay.
Because obviously, right, that's been the Creed story the whole time. Was that the first Creed? It's him living up to the name Creed, and then this one, it's him. This is not a spoiler, but Bianca's character is pregnant in the movie, and so it's him having to deal with his own legacy and how he passes it on to his child. But the other brilliant part that I have to say that Capel Jr. And the writers of this movie did was that it made it about Drago and his son. And so it became a movie about relationship between the villain, the quote villains, and their surroundings and the legacy that they leave behind. And I know that I'm trying to talk around it, but it basically you get to see the villain's perspective in the similar way. And I heard an interview with the director talking about this. He was inspired by The Dark Knight in that he gives a backstory at the very beginning, a cold open beginning, right? So like in The Dark Knight, you have the Joker scene where he robs a bank.
Heist,
Yeah, and then this one you get the scene starting off with that family, the Drago family, and I think it handles that brilliantly because I walked away going like, you know what? In the same way that Black Panther left me going like, oh man, the bad guy was kind of right on this one. I kind of felt all right about the villain in this story too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's almost like you're not sure who to root for.
Yeah.
towards
I
the end.
You really feel bad, like
Which I think is how the best movies are, is that they're not necessarily there's not necessarily like a villain. It's just like two characters kind of going in opposing directions.
Yeah.
And a train's about to hit you, and you just gotta like build up the strength.
Well, it's because the train is agreeing with the train of thought you're currently on.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, I think it. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's very true that when you look at the back to Rocky 4, the first time he fights the Russian, and that's what you think about, because it's very much a movie of its era. We're going through the Cold War in the 80s.
Absolutely.
They made Drago as just like this faceless villain, this killing machine. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Rocky 4, which you should by now.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, it's like, okay, this guy, he's evil. Rocky needs to beat him. I don't care what. Rocky has to win. Well, this one, it's true. They humanize, Drago's son, Victor.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not just like, oh, he's just this cold-blooded, boxing machine, but you kind of get to understanding, like, where he's coming from, where is the family coming from. Even, it goes a lot into, like, what happened after Rocky 4. And it was just very interesting, like, wow, I didn't really think about it that way.
Yeah.
And just, what they had to carry on, and even so much what his father put on him.
Yeah,
I see.
And I think that's the other part where this film. All right, so this film is written by several TV writers, and so what it really does feel like, and without saying the word televisual, it does feel like you're watching the series go through the character development of these individuals. Like you have the Michael B. Jordan story with Bianca and Tessa Thompson, and then you have the relationship between Drago and Victor and Ivan. And so you have that story developing, and it's all relatable. There's moments in this movie where I literally was like, oh man, I feel bad for both sides, because like you understand that this is a movie about humans struggling to get through to the next day, and without spoiling a whole lot, I think Michael B. Jordan, there's a moment after the birth of his child that Michael B. Jordan, if he doesn't get nominated for an Oscar for it, it's a tragedy, because I honestly I was holding back tears. And he was holding back tears, and it just was a beautiful moment of like what a father has to struggle through, and then to follow through with that. Stallone's speech after that was also very brilliant. Like this whole movie was just like good developed moments, and I really loved all of that.
Okay, that sounds great. What would you say is the Capel Jr.'s main directing style in comparison to Cougar's? Or is there something that stood out to you as maybe possibly his own style, where we got Coogler where it's like a lot of like following in one shots?
Yeah. I mean, maybe Manny can speak more to it, but for me, Coogler's style is more fluid. It moves more with the action, and this was a little more, structured.
Okay.
So it was less fluid, more structure. Again, you're right. He had to live up to Coogler's standards, so I think there is an adaptability that he did to the style of shooting things, but it's definitely not Coogler style, where Coogler will follow the action through.
And I feel like that was on purpose, because I feel like he didn't want to copy Coogler's style.
I think so too.
Coogler is already known for his one shots, his fluid and watching, and I felt like sure, he could have done that in this film, but then it would have been a repeat of Coogler. And as a director, I'm sure he wants to find his own style, which he did.
Yeah, he did.
He found there were like aerial shots of the ring and whatnot. So,
got you.
Though I felt like where he worked really well was doing all the passion and the struggle with the characters. I felt like the character study more was better fit for his style than it would have been for Coogler.
I see.
Probably.
So it allowed more. It just allowed the audience to experience.
Well, it was more raw and more
I agree with that.
Definitely.
And not showy. So we were to sit with the character more and deal with their pain, especially with Victor Drago's character. I don't want to ruin it, but there's someone who shows up and you just feel the pain.
That was a messed up scene right there.
That was you feel it, and you feel and it's just him just on the reaction that you just see. It's really great.
Is it a spoiler to talk about the scene?
It is.
Yeah, there's so much stuff in here that I want people to experience. Like I wouldn't want to spoil that, because I like. And here's the other part. Manny, do you have anything to talk about the directing?
Well, I mean, directing wise, it's true. It's more with Coogler. It's more visual.
Yeah,
that's what you felt. And then this one, don't get me wrong. I mean, it did get some great shots, but then the whole Fluid Master was lacking. So in a way, like that kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
Like you can already tell right away. Okay, this is another director. This is another style.
Like jumpy shots.
Not necessarily that.
No.
It's just the style's different.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like he didn't copy him, because then it would have been like, you might as well just got Coogler to do it then.
Yeah. I agree
But
with that.
it is true. The characters, it's more character driven. You do feel a lot more. I think what it was with the first one for me, he just, I think it was a great concept because, I grew up. We all grew up watching Rocky. We all grew up with
Rocky, yeah.
And then just the idea is like, wow, you're going to continue this through Apollo Creed, through that family. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So could you say that Victor Drago can be like the new Apollo Creed, possibly?
That would be interesting.
I think there's potential to do that. I think it would be very interesting.
So that goes back to my original question. Would you guys want to see a Victor Drago film? Or a Drago film, I should say.
I don't know.
I don't think I would. I think, honestly, with this film, I want to just see the series end here because I just feel like it closed off really, really well. Like, that's just my feeling. But Manny, I have a question mainly to do with, like what you can do in independent films versus what you can do in big feature films. Is that character development more of an independent spirit, kind of like that's how you structure a movie versus, say, like a big blockbuster where it's like more,
I think it's like the freedom of it. When it's independent, you're free to do whatever you want, and then you do see a lot more where it's going to be character driven, where it's going to be more on the emotions. Not to say that you don't get the emotions from big blockbusters, but with big blockbusters, it's more about, okay, we want to make money. Who are we going to get? What are we going to do? What are we going to show? What are we going to do? Put that extra icing on the cake just to like get the people in there. Independent's like, you know what? I want to make a movie because this is a story I want to tell.
Yeah.
If you see it, great. If you don't, I don't care. I just want to I want to be able to tell a story. And you do have that type of freedom. You don't have, studios over your shoulder saying, you know what? No. You know what? Let's take 30 minutes out of your film. Instead, he's a good actor, but I think we should really get The Rock to come in here and,
Yeah. And I want to say that's how this movie felt. It did feel a lot like there were moments where they spent more on the relationships and less on the action. And I think because, we haven't even gotten to the actors yet, but I think because the actors are so damn solid in this film that I do feel like there was an independent spirit in the way that the director filmed this movie. And because the actors were so high caliber, you didn't mind spending an extra 10 seconds in the room with them. And I think that's the other key thing, right? A lot of like big blockbuster films do a lot of cuts because they need to, as you said before, right, make the buck, make the explosion, get the big actor in there. But because it was all these fantastic actors like really selling it hard, you really could spend that extra 10 seconds in the room with them when they're in pure sorrow, and there's one moment where like they're just relaxing. And I totally dug that scene where they were just like on the ground. Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson are just on the ground, and because they're exhausted parents, and that moment felt real, as Dan was saying.
Well, and I appreciate that because the first film did really well. It was a big success. It even garnered Sylvester Stallone an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And I felt like they could have gone bigger with this film. They could have made it more of a blockbuster. They could have gone in that direction. And they took these characters who were blockbuster worthy and made it still into like an independent film, which I really appreciate.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Got you. All right. Is there... we talked about all the good things about this. Is there anything about the film you'd rather have changed?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's kind of a hard one, right?
It's kind of a hard one. I mean, damn it, Mike.
It's hardball now. No.
You know what?
For me, it was very formulaic in the sense.
Okay.
You knew where the movie was going.
Okay.
Right. Like, so it's very formulaic in the sense. This not like for me, it was no surprise going on in the film.
Yeah, okay. I agree with that.
But it's still enjoyable.
Okay. Yeah, and I think for me, what it I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, there's a fall, there's a rise, because this is a Rocky movie. You have to rise, and I think because of that reason, I knew that there were going to be these beats that it had to hit, but I didn't mind it at all because again, those extra 10 seconds helped me really care about these characters.
Got it.
So like when the montage happens and Michael B. Jordan's character is like basically getting his ass kicked to
like
get ready.
Rocky montages, this is also a great montage.
I was
totally. And I think it elevated because Michael B. Jordan really like went through like a transformation. I mean, he was already jacked up, but he really went through a bigger transformation. And there were the moments where I was like, man, that I would not want to be a boxer. That's the opposite of what I want to be. And so because it was formulaic, yeah, that was an issue, but at the same time, again, right, those extra 10 seconds you spent with Sylvester Stallone talking to Michael B. Jordan's character, I cared about the characters. I wanted to be in the room with them. I didn't want to experience what they were going through. You know, as most action movies generally make you want to be. Like, I remember The Fighter. The Fighter's a great movie with, I forget the...
Rourke. Mickey Rourke?
I'm sorry.
The Fighter. The Fighter is with.
I'm sorry, that's the wrestler.
The Dark Knight Rises. The
Christian Bale?
No, the bad guy.
You mean Warrior?
Warrior.
That's what it reminded me a lot of.
Yes.
Thank
you, Warrior.
Because of Warrior, it's the same thing too. It's like you don't know who to root for.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton and
Joel Edgerton and Christian Bale.
That's the same thing with this one.
I'm sorry.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Thank you.
And then the same thing you got with this one was you got to the point where it's like, you know what? You know, Adonis is cool and all, but I kind of want Victor to win.
I kind of wanted him to win too. I was like, I want to hug you. Like there was a moment where I just want to hug you. Like you just need to somebody to say like it's gonna be all right, dude. Like man, this sucks. I really would hate to be in your life, but you're doing the best you can. And it's like you're just kind of like, wow, this movie really has me caring for all. Even which is. Even Victor, Ivan Drago, Dolph Lundgren's character.
Yeah,
I even really kind of felt for him when he like there were so many moments where I was like, dude, I would hate to be in your shoes. Like that would suck.
Which I want to give credits to the actors, but also to the screenplay writers, Joel Taylor and Sylvester Stallone, because also every character in this movie is important. There's even the smaller kid, like Felicia Rashad is in this film, who plays Adonis's mom.
Thank you, I forgot about Felicia.
And they stretch her character out more in this film.
They give you more. Yeah.
And I feel like the world building that they did continued from the first one into this film even more so, because you see more of what they're going through and what challenging that Ivan Drago is going through and Adonis Creed is going through. About not only them, but with Felicia Rashad, what she's going through, what Sylvester Stallone is going through, and what Tessa Thompson is going through, watching all this happen and unfold before their eyes. And I feel like that emotional impact was great and carried over from the first film and to make it even more so in this film.
Do you feel like this film it works well as like a standalone film? Or do you feel like you must see the first to enjoy the second?
I think you need to see the first.
I think emotionally you should see the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, but you don't need to see. Then this is another part. That's really good about this movie. You don't need to see the Rocky movie.
Okay.
Because they do a really good job of just showing you what happens, what happened in the past.
Got you.
Yeah.
But if you do see the Rocky movies, you do get a payoff in this film.
You do.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, the one thing I try not to spoil it, but it was just simple observation is that you do see similarities to the original Rocky movies, like little elements that they'll take and okay, this worked for this one, let's use it in here. This worked for that one, let's use it in here.
But they don't overdo it, though.
No, they don't. They don't. You can tell it's like the influencer, just
totally.
like an homage.
Exactly.
Yeah,
tip of the hat, like, oh, hey, this character is kind of based on this other character.
What did you say? A tip of the what?
A tip of the hat.
There you go. Nice.
Manny's wearing a hat, and I made him tip it.
Yes,
indeed. Indubitably.
He also has glasses. He should do glass tipping as well. With that.
At the same time?
Yeah.
That's kind of a struggle. That's like it's like patting your head and
rubbing
your belly. Yeah.
That's too much skill right there.
I think that's like double cool, right?
I know, quite the opposite.
Mike, it looks super cool, I have to say.
Can we try it on Mike next?
Want to borrow my hat?
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
Well, I'm wearing a hat again.
We'll do a photo. There you go.
He's so bad.
The intensity.
He did it.
We'll do a
there it was.
We'll do a boomerang.
I did it twice.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we'll do a boomerang of that. That'll be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else you'd like to know about Mike?
Yeah. So, is Adonis Creed carrying a log in this? Like that. And Victor
there is no log carrying in this movie.
There's no log carrying in the snow.
No. Not that I can remember.
Or
running up a hill.
Or like running on a machine with like a dead look in the face by Victor Drago.
No.
He didn't get no syringe.
No syringes.
Injections or
right.
Mysterious liquid. Okay. Well, no, it sounds fun.
It does have the homage to.
No, but you do feel like the. Victor Drago is kind of a power, like a beast.
So this reminds me of like the way you guys describe it is almost like Heat, like in the very end of the scene with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, where in the very end there's like a stare off between them, and you don't know, like someone needs to get shot.
You know what? I guess that's something that I can work on in the film. I didn't feel like the whole like, oh, they're meeting for the first time. Oh, this is epic, crazy. I didn't get that sense.
No.
Yes.
But I'm okay that I didn't get that sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
But I think we should.
Okay. All right.
I think you should call it.
Yeah.
Ding ding
But
ding
I'm
ding ding.
having fun with this comment. Okay. All right. I'll give
the
it
judge's
back.
decision.
There you go.
Fine.
Yeah.
Any final words from any of you guys?
Dine in, watch it in the theater.
Yeah,
Oh,
go watch it. It's without any like seriously, go watch it as soon as possible so you don't get it spoiled.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Especially if you're a Rocky fan, this is just it's a great. It does carry on the legacy of the whole franchise.
I agree.
What Sylvester Stallone created, and it's kind of funny. Like, do you think he would have ever thought when he wrote the original Rocky screenplay that it was going to turn into what it is today, and even more so continue it to a whole nother level?
It was interesting. So I actually saw an interview with him. There's a whole long story about this. I know it's a tangent. I promise I'll end it in less than a minute. So I won't say why or how, but I ended up at a real estate convention. I won't explain it. So and
Actually, you don't have to, Mike. It's you. It explains itself.
But Sylvester Stallone actually was there, and he actually talked about his experience of when that happened, and I'm sure a lot of people know about it now, but just in case if they don't know the story, he was a struggling actor at the time, and he actually ended up selling his dog to survive.
I remember hearing about that.
And at some point, he ended up getting offered a whole lot of money for the very first Rocky film, and the production company said, "Yes, we wanna buy everything, but you are not a lead actor."
That's right.
So and they didn't want to bring him in, and he refused, and he waited. He actually took a pay cut from someone else, a different production company, who allowed him to be the lead, and that's what jump started his career to what it is today.
I can't picture another person doing that role.
He ended up going back to buy his dog for like 10 times the amount he got for it. So, but yeah. Anyways, so yes, dine in, watch Creed 2 in the theaters. It's you guys have hyped it up for me, and if I don't like it, I'm the punch you guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Punch Z.
Yeah, I'll just punch Z. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and head over to our next review, which will be hosted by Manny.
Hey!
But let me set it up first. So hold on. So the next movie we're reviewing is Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. Directed by Phil Johnston and Rich Moore. Written by Phil Johnston, Rich Moore, and Pamela Ribon. Here's the plot. 6 years after the events of Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph and Vanellope, now friends, discover a Wi-Fi router in their arcade, leading them into a new adventure. Starring John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, Gal Gadot, and Taraji P. Henson. Alright guys, I have seen this film, but Manny hasn't. So Manny shall decide this movie's worth a dine-in, watch it in theaters, take out, wait and watch it at home, or leftovers, get a virus, and that won't allow you to watch this film.
Wow.
That's good.
Can we be viral?
No, not like that, Mike. Not
Okay.
like that.
You have to go to the doctors first?
Yeah, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Manny. So since you're hosting, you get to decide who gets to give the verdict first.
Oh, okay.
And don't mind me, video.
You know what? I'll go with Mike.
Hey,
There you go, Mike.
I think is this the first time I'm first?
I think this is the first time you're
Thank
first.
you, Manny.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
This is like the nicest.
Manny notices me.
We do notice you.
guys don't care about
We just want to punch you a lot.
I
Oh.
know.
Wait,
Yeah.
It's
who,
tough.
Who
It's
are
tough
you?
love. That's okay. Dine in. Watch it in theaters all the way.
Nice.
All
Yeah.
the way, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Since Dan's working over here, I'm gonna give it a dine in. I honestly was very scared in the same way that Creed 2. I was very scared because I was like, all right, this is a sequel, and I don't want it to really be sucky.
Yeah.
Because sequels are difficult, and more importantly, sequels are difficult when the characters have to leave the home, right, where the initial journey began.
Yeah.
So my first fear was like, okay, can they do this somewhere and still be fun about it, right? So the great part about Wreck-It Ralph 1 was that it made fun of video games.
Okay.
Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I love that the title got changed. It really is about the internet, and so Ralph is journeying to the internet, and is the humor that comes from that is on point. Honestly, you should go back and watch the movie about 2 to 3 times because there's just so much content in this film.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I also think it's a dine-in. This movie actually surpasses the first one, in my opinion, and I think they do such a great job in having little Easter eggs. Like Z said, you should watch it multiple times because there's so much cleverness in this film, and it's not. I think that Pixar was known as a studio that it was not just for kids, it was a family film because adults can enjoy it too.
Yes.
This film, which is not produced by Pixar, and it's very much obvious because they have been pointing out the fact, oh, she's from the other studio. That they are a force to be reckoned with because this film is, I would even say it's more for adults than it is for kids because a lot of the jokes that are in this film, but it was so funny and I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite films of the year.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Well, let me ask this. When you say there's like a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of mentions and notices, would you say it's very similar to how Ready Player One did it, or was it on its own?
Well, Ready Player
One is more like internet memes and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like,
memes.
Or viral videos.
Viral videos. Because essentially the story is that basically, so Vanellope is part of a game, Sugar Rush, and due to circumstances, they need to find a piece for the arcade because the game got broken by one of the kids you meet in the first film. And so by doing that, they have to buy the piece from the internet. So Ralph and Vanellope go to the internet, to eBay, to get this piece ordered for the game to come back online. And so that's the setup. And they journey into the internet, and so because they journey into the internet, they get to see the internet as a real place, and as a real world. I really enjoy the way that they presented the world as this like meme factory, and even at that, like there's so many points in the movie where like the users are getting screwed over because Ralph is in there and just screwing things up, and it's like there were moments in the movie where I just literally was laughing harder than anybody in the theater because it was just. One, it was accurate to internet, right? Like when your internet goes down and you're like, mother, just that was there. And two, because it was just really well delivered. Like the comedy in this, John C. Reilly is amazing, and Sarah Silverman are spectacular. And so the fact that they were able to deliver the comedy so well, and honestly, like I kind of was hesitant to put more people in the list of like who the actors are. This is a John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman movie. That's it. Like you're watching these two characters and you're enjoying every step of the way.
Yeah. There's definitely more Vanellope development as well. Yeah. Which is it goes and I guess it's fair to say it establishes her as a Disney princess, I guess.
It does a really good job, yes.
Yeah, and it does a very that whole which it's not a spoiler.
It's in the trailer.
Yeah. You see it in the trailer and they continue on with the fun of that poking fun at
Disney.
Disney. So I think they just did a great job. At least just greenlighting all those jokes in itself I think it was great.
And there's so many other, like, there's Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah,
you see in the trailer as well.
Yeah,
so there's great other cameos as well within the Disneyverse. Which
in
is a lot
the
of fun to watch.
Marvelverse as well.
Yeah. But also obviously in the Nintendoverse as well. Which is great to watch, which is fun.
Yes. I just remembered a couple of jokes in there. Yeah, no, totally. The Marvel jokes are like on point. The Disney, everything about this movie, like the way that they really utilize the humor of poking fun at what we consider culture now, was really well done. Like everything about this was just like, even at that, like push this button in order for you to get, like, so the spammers were like they were real characters, and that was even fun to watch. Of like, could you be annoying and aggressive at the same time? I don't know. Can I? And it's just it's just exactly what I would if I were to like Tron myself. And again, that's another part of the movie where I think it was hinting where this movie is going to go. There's a quick scene in the movie where they play the game Tron and it's broken, and so this movie does in fact feel a lot like Tron, like the plot line of like going into a video, like further into a video game. So this movie has a lot of those elements, even down to the car chases when they get to that. I forget what.
They end up in this other world that's kind of, it's similar to like, it's almost like
Twisted Metal.
It's
Oh my god, Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
There's clowns. There's destruction. It's totally Twisted
that's
Metal.
awesome.
Yeah. I guess
awesome.
Twisted Metal's a good. Okay. And that's
also like GTA, I guess.
Yeah, I would
Grand
say
Theft Auto.
Yeah, it's definitely a cleaned up version for kids,
yeah.
but like it's
Disney.
like
It's Disney.
It's like a Disney-fied version, but it's still kind of hardcore.
I mean, but it's funny because it's almost like the characters are self-aware, like oh, there's kids here. I'll watch my mouth. That's kind of like the vibe. That's the vibe
great.
you get.
But see, that's still very
which is funny.
That's still very clever Deadpool-esque
I
humor
agree.
that translates like that fourth wall breaking, but that it does it really well where you don't actually mind because you're like, yeah, this is a kids movie. You should be aware of that. Yeah.
It was very well done, very funny. But the world that they're in, it's fun. It reminds me of the world very, very much looks like a Grand Theft Auto or a next gen system world. So it's fun to see these characters in amazement of. If those characters were real, they would be amazed. With like,
because they're like pixelated in arcades, and then it's like real.
Also, it's HD.
And you get to see an awesome race.
One of my favorite things was it's such a small thing. It's just a small thing, but I love it so much. Is that when someone connects to the internet, their browser or whoever they are is a little version of themselves.
It's like a little avatar.
Which is great.
It's so cute. It's so cute, and I want one version of myself.
Me too.
You know what? They look like Funkos.
They do look like
Funkos. They look like Funkos.
They do look like
They
Funkos,
do, but it reminds me of like if you ever played like the Wii. Like
Yes,
you have a
the
little character.
Mii's.
It reminds me of that too as well.
Totally. And
let me ask, how was the supporting cast with like now Gal Gadot and how did they play into it?
It was very well done, and I think Gal Gadot.
I didn't even recognize that it was her to begin with. I was like, oh, this woman is very lovely.
She's
She's kind of a badass.
Yeah, you could.
She's almost a Wonder Woman.
I knew like instantly from the voice. I was like, I was like this. I was like, she sounds just like Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
And the way she moved was kind of like how she moves as well.
She also looked like Gal Gadot.
She did, yeah. So
but for some reason I was like at the end when they showed the names, I'm like, oh, Gal Gadot, that's crazy.
Yeah, Dan wasn't putting it together. But Taraji, I think, Taraji P. Henson. It's funny because I remember watching her on TV a lot of times, and as a supporting character, she's amazing. She plays a character, so she's in the trailer, or she gives the movie its name. So she's really, really good. Jack McBrayer is in it as well, Felix, and also Calhoun, Jane Lynch's character. But they don't play as much of a role in this movie as Ralph and Vanellope do. So like the supporting cast is great. Also, I think Ed O'Neill is also in it. He's yeah. And so
very, very small role.
It was nice when at the end of the film when they go through each character, they show a profile of the character and then they have the name of the actor playing it. I thought every time I was like,
I didn't know that.
It was
one.
a nice surprise.
I didn't know that was Ed
awesome.
O'Neill.
Yeah,
I was like,
did he play like an Al Bundy-esque?
No.
No, I didn't expect it.
He would play a schlub for sure, but one thing about this movie that I really want to talk about too is the story. Okay. So Wreck-It Ralph, the original, and again, I'm glad they named this movie Ralph Breaks the Internet and not Wreck-It Ralph 2. So Wreck-It Ralph, what it did was it took the role of the villain and it really kind of developed this complex sort of like you could be a bad guy, but you don't have to be a bad guy. And that whole theme of like developing yourself into who you are as an individual. This movie moves on from there and it talks more about relationships and more importantly, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the father and daughter relationship, because Ralph is definitely the dad and Vanellope is definitely the daughter, and it's And
I think they do mention it in one scene. I think it's more little sister.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's much better
because
he does see little sister. Yeah. But just like that development of relationship, and more importantly, like where your boundaries are set. And I think because you're the glamour and all of that stuff is really fun. There's a lot of fun to be watched there, but there's also a moment of like, you know, who we are as people in relation to each other. And again, the same way that Creed really wasn't about boxing, it was about legacy. This movie is about, like, again, the father-daughter, the parent relationship, the older brother, younger sister relationship. And it just does a really good job where even that I felt like I was like, oh yeah, there is a meaning to the story. There is a metaphor being in play here.
There's definitely metaphors, and there was one that I felt, but I kind of don't want to say it out loud because it might give stuff away. But definitely definitely a relationship type of family dynamic between Vanellope and Ralph. And
I feel like it I agree with that, and it's kind of like no bad guys, just bad decisions. And I like that, and I appreciate that, and that's it. And it's a very it's a more mature version, especially for a kids movie, to present that theme and to be able to break it down so simply for kids. I thought that was very, and I don't even have to say for kids, because I think it's a message that everybody needs to be reminded of anyways. Is just I won't talk too much more about
that message.
But the message is there, and it's very clear, and more importantly, it's heartfelt. I really did feel it. Like I was like, okay, this is silly. Giant things are happening. It's silly. However, I am feeling an emotional connection to these characters, and I was like, you know what? I love this movie because, again, the same way that I love Wreck-It Ralph, Ralph Breaks the Internet is equally as heartfelt. Like there's still like that meaning associated with it.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a couple comments.
Sure,
go ahead.
So we have Carla Esmeralda Isla. Hey, Carla.
Hello, Carla.
Thanks for coming.
She gives Creed 2 2 thumbs up.
Yes.
All right.
Dine in for you. Good job. Yeah.
Let us know what you think about Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yes, if you get a chance to watch it, let us know, because it's I mean, honestly, just watch it. Oh, and also as if people are watching and listening to us right now, stay after the credits. Actually, stay through the credits.
Yes.
Watch the credits. There are so many Easter eggs in the credits because clearly the people who were doing the animation were really like they were giving a lot of room to play, and you see a lot of the memes in the credits.
Well, Rich Moore, who also did Zootopia and did the first film of Wreck-It Ralph, I knew going in that there were going to be a lot of clever moments, because he definitely has a clever sense of humor working with Wreck-It Ralph, the first one, and Zootopia, which was another great film. So I expected there to be greatness in this one, but I didn't expect how great it would be.
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of just a random question, since it's it is about the internet, and it goes into references of what it is to be online and whatnot. Does it make references to old internet, like MySpace? Angel Fire.
It made GeoCity.
Oh my god, GeoCity. I had one of those when I was in high school.
I thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm. There are definitely references. They go to the great thing is, I don't want to spoil anything, but
I know you were going to go.
There are great moments in this movie where, like, you again have to really pay attention to the background. So this is a movie that's worth watching 2 to 3 times, because there's just so much happening in the background that you do get to see these moments of, like, hey, what's that? Oh, it's a giant Google thing, but then there are like Easter eggs hidden in the Google Tower.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's like so much fun there are references to that.
The repeat viewing for this film is very high.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely.
In the same way that Wreck-It Ralph is also a repeat viewing movie, where there's like, the Easter eggs in the background for the video games. This movie has those same things. Oh man, the scene where they're wrecking the internet, and this is in the trailer, where they're creating the YouTube channel. All of that moment right there, you can easily just pause the movie and watch for, like, because there's like, Ralph is a goat. A screaming goat.
Tube.
Yeah, it's BuzzTube. He's a screaming goat, and all of that moment, like, is just a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really,
and it's like old online memes where they're like, all like bee puns are back in.
I feel like we should start breaking the internet soon.
Yes.
And,
Oh my god!
and started just yelling at the camera. Oh!
We tried breaking Instagram earlier.
Yeah, we
today.
did.
You did a really
With
good
the
job. Yeah.
Oh, so
Instagram
much
inceptions.
Yes.
Do you think this leaves it open for another one, for a third trilogy?
Again, in the same way that I said about Creed 2, I really wish that they just ended here because I just felt like this was a good moment to end it on. But there will be another one, I'm 100% sure, because, yeah, it you know, again, this movie, without spoiling, it does end with that moment of like, hey, this is the transition of relationships, and it's really well handled, and so there has to be a third part that just kind of culminates that.
I think the world is so big, and now it's even bigger, that it's totally possible to create a great third addition to this franchise. And yeah,
But not a fourth Disney. Not a fourth like they're doing with Toy Story 4. Hopefully, Toy Story 4 is great. But it was perfect.
Tom Cruise apparently teared up, so I'm just saying
there it is.
It might be good. But anyways, yes, I
Tom
agree.
Cruise?
No, sorry, Tom
Hanks.
Hanks. Wow, I'm tired.
You know, should we do final words? Or
Yeah, let's do
final words, sure.
Okay, Mike, since you went first.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again in 3D. So
yeah. I didn't watch it in 3D, but I do feel like this wouldn't be a.
I know. I
It would
felt
make
like
a difference, huh?
I felt jet because I saw it Tuesday night before it came out Wednesday, and there was no 3D showing this Tuesday night.
Oh, that sucks.
And I was like, that sucks. So I definitely want to see it again in 3D, like you mentioned, Mike. Let's go watch it.
I'm totally down.
You know what? I'm in.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
That says a lot.
That says a lot.
Manny, you're welcome to come, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. So if Z says he's in on a 3D film, you know.
I mean,
that
shoot, if there's a 4D version of this, you know what we should do?
probably
Oh my
is.
God.
You know what we should do? We should do that
The VR?
the VR
Yeah,
experience.
there's
Oh,
a VR
there's the
experience
Void.
in Glendale Galleria.
Oh,
there's a
the
VR.
Yeah, I've been wanting to
We
see
did that for Star Wars.
Yeah, for Z's birthday.
Yeah,
we
did
left
it.
it.
Yeah, so it's
That's how
totally
they got like
worth it.
Ghostbusters now, right?
They have Ghostbusters
Oh
as
my
well.
God.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say yes. If there's a 4DX experience, we should definitely go and do that.
I'm down.
I'm down too.
All right,
This movie totally
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it'll make you laugh and make you cry. Enjoy it.
totally.
Well, I think with everything that was brought, I think it's an easily to say that I will go see this movie.
It's so much fun. You'll
I
enjoy
wanted.
it.
I really wanted to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
this.
I don't want to overhype it, but it's really
Yeah, I
fun.
know.
Yeah. And also, just I know you said it already, but stay till the end credits.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
I'm telling you, that's just like thank you, Marvel. Like pretty much every movie now, I have to stay till the end because you never know. And
Well, technically, we could thank Ferris Bueller, but no.
Well done.
I always think Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, that's really good.
Ferris Bueller, you're my hero.
I'll definitely be watching it though.
Awesome.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and take the hosting duties back. Thank you so much, Manny,
Oh, thank you.
for hosting and being a guest on our show. We always appreciate when you're on the show.
Yeah, you got put on the spot, and you did a really good job as host.
oh, thank you.
I would even say better than Dan.
Whoa.
That's okay, because I'm still better than D, so that's fine.
Manny notices me.
I like that nobody included Mike and like who's a better host.
Oh, awkward. Awkward
Silence.
silence.
Hey,
Yes.
speaking of.
Speaking of, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Hmm.
Awkwardly.
Awkwardly, indeed. Well, Awkward Science. Right now, it's been going really well. We finished the film. We've gone into a few festivals and screenings, and it's been going. We even won an award too. We won honorable mention
congrats.
at
Congratulations.
the Highland Park Film Festival. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's good work.
So
Much deserved. If I'm telling you guys, it's a really well done, great movie.
yeah. So if you want to learn more about, or at least follow us, see where it's going to be screening next, you can go to our website at awkwardsilencemovie.com. If you find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, we're there. We're posting updates as soon as we can.
Make sure to tag him so we can tag you back and then tag back and then tag
Yes.
back and then tag back.
Infinite
we will break Instagram.
Inceptogram.
and
Inceptogram.
then we will break you.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
There's a lot of breaking in this.
Inceptogram, yeah.
You're breaking people, breaking the internet.
Yeah,
What is it?
yeah.
You've coined it. Inceptogram. That's it.
Inceptogram. There it is.
Inceptogram.
That's so
Hashtag
good.
Inceptogram.
Hashtag Inceptogram.
There it is. Coined
Love it.
tonight.
Coined tonight. Yes. Inceptogram. You know where it came from, people?
It came from our co-host Mike Stan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hosting as well.
Yes.
And I guess and being on the show.
Wow. Thank you.
And for breaking the podcast as always.
Broke the podcast.
As usual, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike. You're always the best. Unlike Z, thank you, Z, for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Contributing in some way.
Just a little bit.
Somehow. I don't know.
Oh,
Who knows? But thank you so much. I'm Dan the Man Muñoz. And again, thank you so much for listening, for watching us live on Facebook or listening to us on iTunes, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Make sure to check out us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on YouTube. Also, check out our website at moviemenupodcast.com. That's moviemenupodcast with an S.com. And you can find all our content on there. We had rants, we have reviews, interviews, videos, lots of content. Go check it out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, goodbye.
See you later.